Hey guys, welcome back to AlgoYogi. We are doing array and hashing series, and our next problem in the list is minimum changes to make alternating binary string. So let's go to LeetCode. There you go. You are given a string S consisting only of characters 0 and 1. In one operation, you can change 0 to 1 or 1 to 0. Now, the string is called alternating if no two adjacent characters are equal. So it means the entire string is going to be either 0 1 0 1 0 1 or 1 0 1 0 1 0. I hope that makes sense. So they have also explained it in string 0 1 0 is alternating, right? While this string 0 1 0 0 is not alternating. It was alternating until here, but because of this 0, it is not non-alternating, and because two zeros are together. Now we need to return the minimum number of operations needed to make S alternating. What does an operation means? That means changing either 0 to 1 or 1 to 0. That's the operation you will do to make a string alternating, right? So what they're saying is we are given this string. We need to tell how many operations we have to do to basically make this string alternating. So tell me, what will be in a string? So size of this string is 4. What are the alternating strings that can exist of size 4? Since it's just 2 characters and you have to make it alternating, then there are only 2 possibilities, right? So the first possibility is that starts with 0. So 0, 1. So I will actually write it right here. So first possibility would be 0, 1, 0, 1. What is the second possibility? It's going to become super simple problem going onward. Now what is the second? Well, that will start with 1. So 1, 0, 1, 0. Now this is one alternating string and this is another alternating string. Now which one of these is closest to our original string? Whichever of these is closest to my given string, that will give me the minimum operations, right? So let's check this one. This 0 matches, this 1 matches, this 0 matches, this one does not match, so that is why I need one operation, which means I will have to change this 0. I will have to change this 0 to basically make it 1. All right, make it 1. How about the second one? This one. Well, this does not matches with this. Then 0 does not match, so that is why I'm just going to write does not match. Then this one also does not match. Only this 0 is matching. So that is why I will need 3 operations. All right, 3 operations I will need. Which one is minimum? Minimum of 1 and 3 is 1. That is why our answer is 1. This is brute force solution. This is brute force way of solving it. Now, because we created these 2 strings ourselves for this size, that is why the time complexity is going to be big of n. This is the most weird I have written this. So the time complexity is going to be big of n. Space complexity is also going to be big of n. That is because I am storing these two strings into my like, you can say a string or array, whatever you want to say, but then it is occupying the same amount of size as the size of the original string. Now that is one solution. You create these 2 strings, and then you basically one by one, you can have 2 variables counting the mismatch. Whichever has the minimum mismatch, you return the minimum mismatch out of these two, right? That is one way of solving it. Can we do better? Well, time complexity we cannot, because this is the best. You have to get through all these strings to know what exists in this string, right? But with the space complexity, you can bring it down to big of 1, which is constant. How do you do it? How do you do it? Well, since we know the pattern of these two strings, which are going to be alternating strings, then I will utilize that pattern on the basis of the index being odd or even, and what is the string that I could have started with to make any string alternating. So let me show you. Like, it's going to be crazy simple problem. Okay, so to make it a better solution, what I'll do is I will maintain two variables. First variable is going to be, let's say, 0 0 1 0 1. Initially it's 0, and 1 0 1 0. Initially it's also going to be 0. What are these two variables representing? These are representing the string that we would have created. The size is 4. The string that will result, or the string that this variable is counting the difference, is going to be 0 1. So 0 1 0 1. This is counting 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0. So what I'll do, I will increment the respective variable, or a respective difference, I would say. This, I would rather name it diff actually. So I will just add diff next to it. So diff, because it will be counting the difference that it currently has with the existing original string s. So what I'll do is I will run a loop. I will call s in my not s, let's call it c. For c in s. Now I need actually the index also to calculate if I'm doing the so I'll just say I and c in enumerate. Just check the spelling letter. Okay, in the s, if this I is actually mod of this I is 0, so even position, let's say is at that even position, I wanted to start with 0. So if this c is not equals to 0, that means it's equals to 1. So it qualifies for 1, but for 0 1 diff, so it's 0 0 1 diff, I will increment it by 1. Else, now tell me the else case. Else case would be, that means if it is not 0, and this else case has to be this particular else case will be inside here. So else this c, if this is not equals to 0 in the first case, and that is why I'm incrementing 0 1 difference, here I will be incrementing 1 0 difference. Let me tell you, it's very clear. Like, let me tell you why I'm incrementing this one. So 1 0 diff, I'm incrementing it because at this position I was supposed to see 1, but in my original string I'm seeing a 0, because if this is not 0, that means 0 is here. That is why I'm incrementing 1 0, because this is not matching 1, it's matching 0. So that is why I will have to alternate that if I'm trying to make my substring into this form, this alternating string, this one. Okay, same thing we will do, exact same thing, but we'll actually flip the order. In this else case, in the else case, else case, if this c is not equals to 1, that means I will have to actually increment 1 0 1 0 diff, right? Else I will increment, if it is not equals to 1, it was supposed to be 1 for the if for, let's say, you know, I'm checking for the even indexes here. This is where I'm checking the odd indexes. So that odd index should have been 1, but it is not 1. It is not 1. That is why I'm going to say, I'm going to check if it is not equals to 1. That means I will have to make my 1 0 difference equal I will have to increment it by 1, and the 0 1 will be incremented by 1 in the else case. All right, and in the end you will just return minimum of these two. You will return minimum of these two values. All right, these two values. So here we have basically maintained the time complexity to big of n, but we have brought down the space complexity to big of 1 by basically using just two of these variables. All right, so let's write down the solution. It's if you don't get it, sit down, do it by yourself, and just think about it. Why are you incrementing either 0 1 difference or 1 0 difference, depending on you know, this odd even positions you are choosing? Because you're assuming either you want to start with 0 or you want to start with 1. If you want to start with 0 and if that is not 0, then you're going to increment the 0 1. Otherwise, you increment 1 0. Odd position, you wanted to have 1 because you're starting with 1 0. You wanted to have 1, not present 1, 1 0 incremented. Otherwise, 0 1 incremented. Boom. So that's how you do it. Okay, so let's code it up. It's going to be simple. You can write the brute force yourself. So we are going to say 0 1 difference is initially 0, 1 0 difference is also 0, and for I and C in enumerate, what are we enumerating? We are enumerating S. We don't have to actually do it like this. We can just say for I in range, let's say len S, and we can take out the value. Let's call it C for the ith position in S I. Okay, this is my C. Now, if this I mod 2 is equals to 0, that means that's the even position. If this C is not equals to 0, I'm choosing that it should have started with 0 1, but it is not. That is why I will increment this, right, by 1. Otherwise, I will increment 1 0 difference. See, it's working in the parity. That's why I had to do it this way. In one position, it is only going to execute, you know, either this or the else case. And here we'll do the same thing. So if C is not equals to 1, then I will increment 1 0, because at the odd position I was supposed to see this, else zero. And in the end, you come out, you have checked all the different all the differences, either is starting 0 1 or 1 0, and then you return the minimum of any of these. Okay, so let's zoom out. Hopefully this is all correct. I know the more you talk about a solution, the less clearer in your head it gets. Okay, I think I might have made a mistake here. That is because if it is okay, so I think we are doing the same thing here as well. We're going to do the same thing. The reason is because this time also, if it is the, let's say if it is not the even position, it's the odd position. In that odd position, if that c is not equals to 1, it was supposed to be, then also you increment the same thing. Yes, okay. So let's try to run it, this one. Yes, so let's submit. Okay, so quick change here. I think I should have done it over there as well. Because you are choosing that you start with 0, 1. You start with 0, 1. And you can use 2 for loops also. You know, if you don't want to do all this in just one go, then you can choose 2 for loops and then things will be more clear. But if you're starting with 0, 1, even position, you're trying to find 0. If not, then you increment this. Just think only about this right now. If that is not equal to 0, you increment it. If odd position and that is not equals to 1, because it has to be 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, then you increment only 0, 1 def. This else case you could cover in another for loop, but we have covered it in the else case for starting with 1, 0. Starting with 1, 0. If you want to try, you could flip these values. So you can make this 1 and this 0 and then flip both of these values, you know, flip them, and then you will be able to get your answer. Okay, we have submitted it. Let's write down the time complexity. Time complexity is going to be big of n. You're visiting, and n is the size of our string s. And then space complexity is going to be big of 1. Alright, so let's go back to AlgoYogi, mark this problem solved. See you guys later in the next problem.